If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.
Welcome in, bench warmers. It is another game day edition here, live from the jungle. Hopefully everyone had a very good, stress-free week. Hopefully work wasn't that bad. Bengals fans especially, I know myself. It's been kind of a long week. I've been waiting for this all 5 days. The kids at school were not necessarily the easiest this week. It was a long couple of moments there, but we're finally ready to talk about this playoff game. We're ready to talk about the rematch of the two best quarterbacks that are in the NFL currently, the rematch of the two teams that were in the AFC Championship last year. It is the first time since, I believe, 2011, 2012 that the two teams playing in the conference championship game are in a rematch. That was the Ravens and the Patriots the last time that had happened. But now, obviously, the Burrow-led Bengals going in to take on what could be possibly the most beat-up version of the Chiefs that we've seen in quite some time. And I think it's all stuff that we should talk about, stuff that we should go over, make sure be on the same page, because this is going to be a little bit more stressful than I think some people are anticipating, even with the possible injury and the possible lack of mobility. This Chiefs team still has Andy Reid on their sidelines. They still have Travis Kelce, who also seems to be a little bit banged up. There's been some reports coming out about a back injury for Travis Kelce. This defensive line is so much different than what we saw last week. And I think a lot of Bengals fans, rightfully so, giving a lot of praise to those backups on the offensive line. But that really wasn't – it was the best situation to start in, because the Bills, after they lost Von Miller and they've been banged up so much on defense, they overindulged a little bit in his contract and weren't able to have anybody else behind him. So you didn't have to worry about a versatile pass rusher. You didn't have to worry about a defensive tackle that's 6'6" and 360 pounds that's going to rush on every single play. And he's going to pass rush. He's going to make your offensive lineman uncomfortable. Hopefully Callahan is able to come up. Zach Taylor is able to come up with a game plan that kind of puts his offensive line in the best situation possible, but it is not going to be easy. And I think that if Bengals fans do believe that it's going to be an easy victory or something of that nature, it's time to start tempering your expectations now, because this Chiefs team has not been in 5 straight AFC Championship games for no reason. This Chiefs team is here because they are well coached. They take advantage of the teams that they need to take advantage of. They win, whether it's ugly, it's pretty, not okay, all good. Patrick Mahomes has 1 ankle, 2 ankles. They've been the class of the AFC. They've been everything that you could want and more. And this is going to be another well-earned, if it happens that way. I'm not going to say anything definitive. I'm not going to open my big mouth. I know that I could. I know that I could open my mouth and say that Joe Burrow's undefeated in the last 3 meetings against the Kansas City Chiefs. And has Patrick Mahomes ever beaten Joe Burrow? No. Did he beat him last year when they were in the AFC Championship game? No. Were the Bengals a worse team last year? I think so. This is the most established that this franchise has been in the past 3 decades, since 1988. And remember, back in the 80s, they didn't even go to back-to-back AFC championships then. It took them a whole 3 years to figure it out once they lost Kenny Anderson and then had to pick up Boomer Esiason. It took time. This team was able to go from Cinderella story last year. Obviously, you could tell things were working and they had some kind of a formula, some kind of a standard that they were able to uphold, but nobody knew what that was really going to be. This is a team that went out, did the necessary things to get themselves better, I know that I've been very critical of Mike Brown. I actually listened to him. The Bengals Booth podcast had him on, the radio guys for them. And he is like, this team is his family's legacy. He understands that. I said a couple times that I don't know if he understands that this is all his dad left behind. He does. He wants this team to be successful. That's why he is allowing his daughters to become more and more involved with the day-to-day operations. And by all accounts, it seems like they're moving themselves forward. I've said the random weird stories, but like TJ Houshmandzadeh says, when he first got to Cincinnati, they were reusing jock straps. You were not getting Gatorade on the sidelines. You were doing a lot of interesting things, to say the least. You did not have an indoor facility. You still don't, but that's in the works. So that is going to change. But honestly, everything that this team has had to overcome because of the way Mike Brown is has made them closer together. I don't think that I've seen a Bengals team more invested in each other. Everybody who scores gets a full-on celebration. The defense, anything big happens, they run to the end zone. And I know like old people or people that are of a different generation of the NFL are going to say, well, they shouldn't do that. They should act like it happened before. Yeah, I get it. But damn, that's a big play. Like, you cause an interception, you get the game-sealing interception in the AFC divisional round against the Buffalo Bills, who's been the Super Bowl champion for the past 3 years that have still yet to win a Lombardi trophy. That is a celebration-worthy moment. You have a 99-yard fumble return for a touchdown that seals a victory, puts your team back in front of the wild card round. Your hometown team, the team that you've played high school, college, now the pros. You are the de facto leader of that entire side of the ball, two of them, Logan Wilson and Sam Hubbard, and you get that play. Yeah, go celebrate, because that is an amazing feat. This team is in their last playoff games, not counting the Super Bowl, they are 7-0. They are 13-0, excuse me, in the last 13 weeks. The last loss coming to Cleveland on Monday Night Football. Now, I'm knocking on wood. I'm not trying to jinx anything. I just want to make sure that the perspective is out there, because the betting lines have been funky. Nico talked about it. I'm working still on getting that audio fixed. Auditions being really finicky, so I'm doing my best there. But this is the time where this team has to come out. They have to fire on all cylinders. They have the expectation of being in this position now. There's no gimmicks. There's no sneaking up on anybody. You're going to win by yourself. You're going to lose. But there's a lot of other things that we can talk about. Before we do, I want to make sure everyone remembers to check out the Far End of the Bench. This is the YouTube channel that you're on, so if this is your first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave a like. You can check out the comment section if you'd like to leave a comment. I'm always up for that, and we can definitely interact with everyone. We just had our last live podcast Thursday, and like I said, I'm still working on getting the audio edited and actually figured out in trying to get that out to everyone, but you can still watch the video on our YouTube channel. So subscribe there, follow us wherever you listen to your podcast, and make sure you follow the Variety Sports Network as well at Variety_Sports_. And you get the best independent sports content. There's also Variety Sports Football, Variety Sports Baseball, Variety Sports Collegiate. We're probably going to start up an NBA one here soon. And I think Brandon is also trying to get hockey started. And guess who's going to host that one? Yeah. But I think it's going to be good. Well, that'll be once the playoffs are over with. But be sure to check out Far End of the Bench with myself and Nico Bryant, my co-host. We'll see if he's able to jump on here. He's doing some other things before the games start. I wanted to get this done a little bit earlier in the day so that I didn't have to miss any of the games. But like I have probably mentioned to the people in my house, I've a lot of nervous energy right now. I've been up since 7:30. I read like 40 pages of the book that I've been reading. Shout out Lee Child and Jack Reacher. No free shout outs, but I'm currently reading One Shot. I'm probably going to get some more of those books, but I'm keeping up with all of those kinds of things. And I think it's been helping because this year I'm not nearly as stressed as I was last year. I remember walking Boomer, and I tried to do that this morning, but I wasn't able to. It's -3 currently in Denver. That's the current temperature feels like. So did not get to walk the dog. But I remember last year, and I was thinking about whether the Bengals would win or lose the AFC Championship game. Last year, obviously, everyone, including myself, thought that it was a lot more of a long shot than it is this season. But I cried both ways. I mean, I cried to the fact that they might lose that game. I cried to the fact that they might win that game. A little bit more even-keeled now. Been reading, been writing. I have something that I'll close out today's show that I wrote down when I woke up earlier this morning. Probably going to do the same thing for the post-game show. So the post-game will be sometime after the end of the Bengals and Chiefs AFC Championship game. Hopefully, same as last year where we get a good result. I'm really thinking that that's a possibility and like this team can just take over. But I'm not going to really put a whole lot of faith in it. I don't want to say too much about it. I don't want to say too much because I don't want anything to be construed. Like, I have a lot of respect for Chiefs fans. I am now, my girlfriend's family is half Vikings, half Chiefs. So there's a lot of different allegiances here. And I don't hate Patrick Mahomes. I really do. I love watching a guy that's that good at football. And if he is able to go out and win this game with that bum ankle, they deserve it, because not only would they have overcome not being able to have beaten the Bengals in the last however many times, but they beat Joe Burrow. They're back in the Super Bowl, and they have a chance to solidify themselves with that dynasty. Nico and I talk about it pretty much at the end of every season. But if the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl, again, they got one. They went to another, got waxed. Starting to maybe taint that legacy that you've been building. And I think that's also the reason why Andy Reid is being kind of left behind in all of the conversations. I think that he is, without a doubt, the best coach in football. I think all of the coaches that are left are all really good, and that's why we're seeing them in this situation. Zach Taylor's really come into his own the last couple of years, leading his men and delegating. His coordinators are some of the best in the NFL. Anarumo is labeled the mad genius. Oh, thank God we continue to play in the playoffs, because I think he probably would have been interviewed for one of these head coaching vacancies, and he still might be on the leaving town bandwagon. I hope he's not, because he's done great things for this defense, but the coaching that the Bengals have, the coaching that the Chiefs have, the coaching that the 49ers get with Kyle Shanahan, and the coaching that the Eagles get with Nick Sirianni, it's all different. Each guy has a different area that they excel in. I would say that of those four coaches, Andy Reid has the best ability to do even the things that he doesn't excel at very well the best, if that makes any sense. He's got the most experience. He's been in this situation countless times, both with Philly in the NFC Championship, and think about all the pressure that was on him back then with Donovan McNabb and those crazy Philly fanatical fan bases, the media, all of that. And now he's done it in the AFC with Kansas City, and he's done it in a way that seems like he's built up just a winning culture and a winning program. It'll be incredible when the first year passes that they don't continue this streak, kind of like how we said with Tom Brady this season, not making or not winning, going over 500 was a little bit insane. When they finally do lose out on the streak of AFC championships and playoff dominance and basically being the gatekeepers of the AFC. If you've wanted to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl for the past 5 years, you've had to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. That is what is on the line for them. I think they're going to play with just as much emotion as the Bengals have to play for. I think the motivation's definitely different. And I'm going to do my best to try and pay attention to this Eagles and 49ers game, but I'll be honest, there's going to be a lot going on. We have some family over, so I'm probably going to be a little bit distracted, which will be nice. Instead of having to sit there and stress, I just bought Madden 23. It's finally on sale. So I might play a couple games that way, just relax and drop things out of my mind. And yeah, it's all just about stress management. Say it with me now. It's all going to be okay. No matter if they win, no matter if they lose, Bengals fans, we can still hold on to the fact that this was a great season. This team overachieved what everyone was expecting from them. And even when they were down 0-2, getting to the 1-3, the 2-4 start, and going from that to now 13 straight victories, never really looking like you were out of any kind of game. The comeback in the second half against the Buccaneers, overcoming your collapse against against the Patriots during Christmas, and you've just been able to keep your head down with that workmanlike mentality. And when guys go down, other people are stepping up. The main catalyst being Joe Burrow Jamar Chase, obviously a leader. Logan Wilson, Sam Hubbard. I'm going to throw in Ted Karras, the center, because he's now the focal point. He's one of the last few remaining guys who've started all season, and he's even banged up now. His knee is bugging him. I assume he's going to play. I haven't seen any reports or heard anything that he isn't. He really puts that unit going in the right direction. I think that it's I'm almost incapable of trying to describe the importance that he has for this team and for this offensive line unit. And I gotta look up the name because I can't go without giving that guy credit. I'll look at the betting lines and everything like that because it has changed. So when we were on the podcast, it was 1.5 in favor of the Chiefs. I gotta go to Google. Bengals offensive line coach. Frank Pollock. Frank Pollock is a guy that gets his dudes ready to roll. Let's go see. I gave people shout outs, but I now am realizing that I probably didn't say the right name. So for the Bengals currently starting at the offensive line positions, you have Jackson Carman at left tackle, Cordell Volson, left guard, Ted Karras, center, Max Sharping, who made his first start 2 weeks ago against the Ravens, in at right tackle or right guard for Alex Kappa. And then you have Hakeem Adeniji, who is in there for an injured Lyle Collins, who tore his ACL. There's so much that you can say, so many times that you can look at this season, and the Bengals could have rolled over and laid down like we've seen from them in the past. I'm not unwilling to admit it. That is what they usually are known for doing. They find the easiest. I watched the video of it today. Carson Palmer gets hurt, and then all of a sudden everybody sucks and nobody can win. And I have not seen that from this team this year. They've been able to overcome adversity. They've been able to come back and win games late in the fourth quarter. I know that they've only ever beaten the Chiefs by 3 points, so it's like a total of 12 that they've won the last 3 meetings by. I don't care. They have every right, every ability to win this game just as much as the Chiefs do. If they're able to contain Patrick Mahomes, Lou Anarumo cooks up the perfect scheme on defense, and then they execute, take away Travis Kelce, force those receivers that are not as talented anymore. You don't have to worry about Tyreek Hill. That's a huge factor in this game. You don't have to worry about Tyreek Hill. Make sure you cover the receivers. Take away Travis Kelce. Do not let him get 20 catches on you like he did last week. Do not pull a Jacksonville Jaguars and let a tight end of all people beat you, because I can't stand to listen to another argument over whether or not Jason Kelce or Travis Kelce is the best tight end of all time. And then on offense, give Burrow enough time. Brian Callahan, call plays that are going to put your offensive line in positions where they can possibly succeed. You don't want to put them in dropbacks the whole time. So you're going to have to make sure this game stays close. You can't get down by 17. You can't be going into halftime down 11. Make sure that you get the ball. You control the clock. You don't allow your defense to get tired. You keep Patrick Mahomes on the opposing bench, and you figure out ways to double team and triple team Chris Jones when you can. Neutralize Frank Clark, that Kansas City pass rush that you did earlier on in the regular season, and they've been a little up and down, not necessarily the most consistent unit. Those are all things that this Bengals team, I'm hoping to see from them today, and that's all they've been trending towards. I think since that DeMar Hamlin situation, I said it last week, and I think watching the playoff game now, it's almost a little bit even more solidified. This Bengals team was going to beat the Bills in the regular season. This Bengals team could have had the possibility of being the second seed, maybe even the first seed in the AFC playoffs. If not, there should still be a neutral site game. Never happened. They're still trying to put everything, stack all of the chips against us, and I cannot wait to see. I just want the boys to go out and fight. Just go out there and put on as good of a show as you can. If you win, you win. If you lose, die on your sword. That's all I'm asking for. I'll leave you with this. After never witnessing a playoff win for the first 23 years of my life, I now sit waiting to watch the Bengals play the Chiefs once again for a shot at the Super Bowl. I am still not great at being a fan of a contender, but I'm trying, and that's why I call this weekly therapy session with you all, bench warmers and jungle cats. That's why I am here. I have to be able to get all of these emotions out. Games like this feel like a double-edged sword. On the one hand, my team is among 4 that still get a chance to play, so that is special. On the other hand, I now get way too invested in a contest I get no say in and control 0 of. Why? Why is it we become fans? The very root of the word comes from fanatic, often a negative sentiment. But to feel the exhilaration following that victory is one of the most positive and personal impacts offered in this world. Players you never met in your life fill you with pride. You don't see the work in it takes, but you appreciate it just the same. Win or lose, I bleed orange and black. Who they say gonna beat them Bengals? Let's rule the jungle today, baby. Jesse Bates, Logan Wilson, Sam Hubbard, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, Hayden Hurst, Max Sharping, Ted Karras, Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine. It's time. It's time to go put a hurting on these boys. It's time to send them home packing again. It is time for the Bengals to be back-to-back AFC champions with a chance to rewrite the history that they robbed themselves of last season. For myself, Jimmy Pallotto, thank you guys very much for listening. Make sure you follow at FEOTB Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel that you're watching right now, and be sure to check out the podcast every Thursday. Follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to check out the post-game live from the jungle. I'll have my reaction. I'll have my thoughts written down on paper. I might have a few beers in me. It's going to be a good time, but until then, enjoy NFC Championship game coming up here in a little bit. Now let's enjoy this AFC Championship game. Have a good night to end off what was a very long, stressful week, but it's going to be a great day here. Who they say gonna beat them Bengals? Who they say gonna beat them Bengals? Nobody.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.